Hey, it's Tanisha Spain, host of Mid-American Gardener, and this week we are at Allerton Park in Monticello. Now, there's no way we could show you this whole place in one show, so we're going to take a look at a couple of the gardens here with the help of our friends Luke and Olivia. We'll also meet up with one of our panelists, Carnes, who spends a lot of time here in the herb garden. So let's jump in and get started. And we found Kay in, of course, the herb garden of all places. That is Kay's specialty after all.
Yes, it is.
Welcome to the show.
Welcome to the herb garden.
Thank you. Now this is, you spend a lot of time here, right?
I do.
This is your playground.
Yes, it is.
So show us around a little bit.
Okay. We're starting with hops.
Hops.
Which we have some that on that wall. And we have another bunch on that. And we're hoping someday to get this whole wall covered with hops and start making some beer. So we'll see.
Well, keep us posted when that process begins.
And this is our mascot. It's the only green food dog in the park. So he's pretty special.
He's pretty special. Green for the herbs. It makes sense.
And the beehive is here. The original garden, before it was an herb garden, consisted of peonies, daylilies.
So it wasn't an herb garden at all?
No, it was not. It did not become a herb garden till probably the late 80s, early 90s.
Gotcha. Okay. And there's a lot of stuff out here.
There is. What we've tried to do is the International Herb Association selects an herb of the year every year. And so that's what we've got. We've tried to get every herb that they've selected in
Very
here.
nice.
And we pretty well did.
Now, for those who don't grow herbs, you may not know that they're literally just tucked in everywhere. You know, it's because it looks like it's part of the landscape. So why don't you show us some things?
Well, this actually is a rose bush, and there's one over here. That's been one of the herb of the year, surprisingly enough. There's a lot of different varieties of thyme. And this is parsley.
And these are used in the cafe and a lot of the dishes here?
Yes, we've always encouraged people, but the gal that runs the cafe now is the first one that actually comes down and uses the herbs. And then this big bush is elderberry. Elderberry, some people think of it as a weed, but it's a very useful herb. There's medicinal uses for it. And they're quite hardy, as you can see.
Yes, and the funny part is, Lucas was telling us he chopped this all the way to the ground in the fall.
Almost.
And here we are.
Yeah, it grew back.
He thought he killed it, but
I thought he killed it.
he did not, in fact, kill it. I love these, the berries, you were talking about those. I make syrups and things out of them.
Yes, elderberry syrup, and it's a good medicinal.
It is,
yeah,
yes.
So.
Anytime there's a little cough at our house, I'm
There
reaching
you
for the
go. Grab
elderberry
that
syrup.
elderberry syrup.
This is an herb also?
Yes.
Interesting.
It is.
Now, do you cook with this?
No, not the Monarda so much, but it's, as you can see, it's a good bee attractor.
Yes, it is. Can you talk a little bit about the benefits of having flowers interspersed with herbs? What's the benefit of mixing that?
Well, they can be companion plants. But herbs on their own are very decorative.
That's true.
And as you can see, they're very hardy.
Now, how long have you worked in this particular garden?
Oh gosh, I think since the late 80s, maybe early 90s.
Oh wow. Does it take a lot to get an herb garden established? Is this hard to maintain?
It depends on the herb. Most of these herbs, we don't really do much with. We try to keep them weeded, and if you cut them back, then they'll get bushier.
But once it's established, once you've got an herb...
Yeah, they're pretty hardy.
Nice.
And they really don't take a lot of care. So I think that's a plus.
Now, other than the folks that use them here on the grounds, are people welcome to come here?
Oh yes,
and use
we
and
encourage
pick?
people to
Really?
come.
Okay, we'll come
Yeah,
get some herbs
they're
then.
welcome to come in. They're welcome to pull leaves off and smell them and taste them.
Excellent. We love that.
Yeah, so that's anything to help them learn about herbs.
Excellent. Okay, let's go check out some more plants then.
This is lemon balm, and it's got a really nice lemon.
That smells so nice.
And then this is lavender, which I think people are pretty much.
I have the hardest time getting lavender to take off.
Lavender it's kind of touchy.
I think I overwater.
Yes, you could.
I think I do.
They come from rocky areas, so they really, if they're sitting in moisture, they don't like it.
I think that's it. I need to neglect them more.
Yes,
I think.
and that's hard to do. And we have some purple coneflower back there. That's oregano.
Oregano.
Yeah. That's
Looks a lot different than it does on the store shelf.
It probably smells and tastes different too.
So for these, if we were going to enjoy some oregano, you would take the leaves?
Yes, I would cut it down to about here and cut the flower off. And then if you want to dry them, I would strip it all off and put it like in a pie pan or something, a sheet, and put it in a warm place for a while. You don't want to overheat it, but just keep it
just to let them
warm
dry
till
out.
it really dries out. It can take quite a bit of time.
And once those leaves are crunchy,
Yeah,
that's when you know it's ready.
If they can crumble in your hand, then they're ready to go.
And does that apply pretty much across the board? Like if we were going to take some sage, would you do the same with that? Just lay it flat?
Yes, but sage would take longer because it's a thicker, denser herb. But you can just leave them.
It smells like
until they're
Thanksgiving.
red. Yeah,
Sage always reminds me of Thanksgiving. Always.
Sage is pretty hardy and it grows well here.
We've talked about bay leaves before on the show because I've always wanted a bay, but it takes a really long time for them.
And you can kill them really
And you can
easy.
kill them. Yes, there's that.
But if you can get this one's probably an older one, and they keep this in the greenhouse over the winter.
It overwinters inside. Gotcha.
And you want to be careful not to overwater them.
That's
So what
another
I
one.
do when I have a plant that I have to be careful, I'll stick my finger in the dirt, at least down to the knuckle. And if it's dry all the way, I'll water it. If it's a little bit damp, I'll let it go for a while, because the worst thing you can do is overwater plants.
I can't remember if it was you or John, but someone made a simple syrup with bay. It was probably John
Oh, that would be
Bodensteiner.
interesting.
But it was really good. It was very sweet, totally different from what you would use like if you were making like a pasta sauce
I
or
know.
something.
Sometimes the herbs will do that.
Yeah.
They'll just kind of have multiple personalities.
Yeah. Bay is definitely one of those. Got some more thyme here.
Yes.
And I love that this kind of doubles as a ground cover, like you were saying.
It is.
It's
This-
not just for cooking and things like that.
No.
These have a lovely ornamental value.
Yes.
And the buzzing, the pollinators that are in and out of here is
they're
really
loving it.
remarkable. Well, thank you, Kay, for letting us come and hang out at your
Well, I'm glad
secret
to have
herb
you.
garden spot.
And
And
you're welcome to come anytime.
Yes.
It's always open. The gate is just to keep deer out and not
Yes.
people.
not people,
So,
just the deer.
if you want to come and visit, feel free to walk in. Make sure you close the gate when you leave.
Excellent. Come in and pick some herbs and check out the gardens.
And
All
we're
right.
here every other Wednesday working. So if
you'd
wanna
like to talk
come,
to someone,
and yeah.
you can speak to someone then. Okay. Well, thank you so much. I'm going to mosey around here and see if I can find some herbs to take home with me. And now we are joined by Lucas Rund, the park supervisor here at Allerton. We are in the herb garden, and This is the first time I've seen one of these gardens ever, so we're going to have him explain what this is and kind of how you build it and a little bit of history about it. So tell us about this. It's kind of like mound gardening.
Yeah, so technical term is hugelkultur, which
Okay.
I think in German means mound culture.
Okay.
It's a more sustainable type of gardening. It's basically, I wouldn't call it self-watering, but it retains water. It's a lot of organic matter in there, so it feeds the plants as they grow. It's also easy on your back, which is a big deal when you're talking about herb
Yes.
gardening and
I can see a
gardening.
lot of stuff happening in here.
Yeah, we've got everything from basil, cilantro, tomatoes. There's a little arugula back there. Some bok choy, that's what these yellow flowers are here. Tomato all across the top, like I said. Then we put some ornamentals in here too, just to add some color. We've got some ornamental sweet potato vine, a few blue salvia popping through.
Very nice.
We've got a little lavender patch over there on the end, and then a chive patch here on the end. And on the back side, we've got zucchini, squash, cucumber, and I think a couple pumpkins too.
Okay, and we'll make our way around there as well. So
Yeah.
walk us through sort of I'm blown away by this. Like,
Yeah.
what is inside? Do you start at ground level? Do you dig? How
Sure.
do you even get started with
So there are a
this?
few different types of ways you can do it.
Okay.
You can go underground, where you dig out a nice trench in the ground, fill it with sticks, mostly huge, big logs is your first layer.
Okay.
Then you come back through with sticks, leaves, things that aren't composted yet, but really good in organic matter. Then you come back with a half composted material, organic material. Then you overlay it with a nice fresh bed of fully composted material. And that's
Okay.
what you can see here on the top.
Gotcha.
And then we covered it with some straw just to help keep it all together until the plants got a little bit bigger.
And then as far as the order and the organization of how you guys laid it out, is there a rhyme or reason there?
No, we just kind of wanted to make a space that was easily accessible to people. We had a kitchen here, a full kitchen, and caterers use the herb garden to collect herbs for their dishes.
Very nice.
Eventually, I'm hoping we can mold this into our folk school, which we have here at Allerton, kind of a community-based learning thing, which Olivia will talk about a little bit later.
And I don't know, I could be wrong, but this feels like it's a huge space saver.
Yeah, oh, for sure. Yeah, so if you look around the garden, we have a cutting garden on the end. Then we go to some sweet corn, a little tomato patch for some extra tomatoes we had. Then we have some wasabi radish here. But we couldn't have fit all of these plants in unless we had this. I think it about doubles our square footage
Yes,
of this area.
definitely. Let's check out some of the
Yeah.
plants on the back side here that you mentioned. 'Cause
Sure.
this is really neat.
So yeah, like I said, we've got some pumpkin, zucchini, a few squash. They're starting to bloom right now. And then over here we even have a little cucumber on the very end. Starting
Now
to
this
grow.
makes sense, putting these on the back side here
Yeah.
so that they can kind of run wild and
That's right.
do their own thing.
That's right.
And it's also kind of giving support here
For sure.
on the is that tomato?
Yeah,
Are those
tomatoes. Yep, all along the top we've got tomatoes.
It feels like it's all sort of working together with
That's-
either support or shade or structure of some kind.
That's kind of the idea. It's almost like a Three Sisters garden-esque
Yeah,
kind
for
of
sure.
quality. Yeah. Yeah, so it's exciting. And you know, the nice thing is you don't have to bend over too far to get
Yes.
in there. You can just pull out and pick. We've got some tomatoes, nice tomatoes growing.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, these tomatoes really blew up. We started everything, all the herbs and vegetables from seed in our greenhouse here at the park, and then we
Nice.
transplanted everything out here.
Very nice. Now,
Yeah.
was this hard to build? You know, can the at-home gardener, if someone is interested in making, maybe not quite to scale,
Sure.
but one of these, are they hard to construct?
I don't think so. I mean, granted, we do have a lot of equipment here, but really all we did was pull a truck up and unload everything. And we just used wheelbarrows. So it wasn't all that complicated, especially if you're doing it on the surface. If you're going to dig down deep and bury it, it might be a little more challenging. But on the surface,
Very nice.
it's fairly easy, especially for a home gardener to do. You can also do this in a raised bed, so it doesn't actually have to be in a mound like this. If you have a raised bed at home and you want to empty out what's in there, put some logs down, some sticks, twigs, leaves, that kind of thing.
And
it's the same
still
kind of
do
concept.
that layer.
You can still do the same layering.
Gotcha. Very nice.
Yeah.
And you mentioned the wasabi.
Yeah.
Wasabi radish?
Wasabi radish.
Wasabi radish.
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever seen these in an actual garden as well.
This is our first time. So we buy a boatload of seed, obviously, to grow everything here, and they give us a free bag of seed, and this was our free
And this
bag.
was the
So it's
freebie,
just
huh?
by random happenstance.
Very nice.
So we can pull one out.
Okay. I
This
was
one
going
looks-
to ask, how do you know when they're ready?
I don't.
Okay.
I don't know.
Well,
This is
we're
my
learning.
This is my first time with the wasabi radish.
I think you picked a good one.
It's a pretty big one.
I think the free seeds are a success.
Yeah. Well, it's kind of exciting because you never know what you're going to get.
Yeah,
and then
for
you get
sure.
something different.
And that's a unique one. That's not
Yeah.
something that you see every day.
It's, just smells like a radish. It must not be ready yet.
Oh, it would have the,
Because I feel like it would smell a little hot.
yes, in
Yeah.
true wasabi form.
That's the inside, nice and green.
Uh-huh.
We have carrots down here too. We have a beehive here from a local beekeeper. And so we try to have pollinator patch out here. Like I said, we have a cutting garden. So the mansion can use that for different events. They can come down here and cut our own flowers grown here at the park.
So as a supervisor, this is probably the best / busiest
Yeah.
time of the year
That's right.
for you here. Do you have a lot of folks come out to just enjoy these gardens and just walk through? And
Absolutely. Yeah, it's great. We get questions about the gardens. What's this plant? What's that plant? We try to put labels on everything. You can see around the garden that there are a few labels out, but we don't have everything out there.
And for someone who has maybe not been here before, what's your elevator speech about Allerton?
Oh boy. I'd say it's kind of an oasis in the prairie. It's, between the formal garden grounds, the natural areas, we have a lot of trails, and a historical residence here. I mean, you can kind of mark a lot off your list by coming here. I've been coming here since I was a kid, so it's a real pleasure to work out here and for people to come and enjoy it. I think the sunken garden is probably the biggest draw for people. It's just such a unique space, but we have so many unique spaces other than that. So I think to get people here and get them to see it, then they just want to keep coming back.
And now Olivia Bunting joins us. You are the Senior Programming Director here at Allerton. So this isn't a place where you just come and casually observe. There are things to do here.
Yeah,
Let's talk about that.
Plenty of things to do out here. So yes, you can always just come out and walk through the gardens. We have third Saturday garden tours where you can just go through each of their formal gardens and get a little bit of history as well as like what we're growing out here. We also have hikes scheduled throughout the spring, summer, and fall. And then we also have our programming opportunities with our folk school. And Kay is actually teaching one of our upcoming classes, Cooking with Herbs. So she'll be walking through the herb garden on August 3rd and talking about what we're growing out here and how you could use it in your cooking. And then it kind of rounds out with a nice little lunch after. Yeah, with those featured herbs.
Are you seeing people not start to, because this has long been a draw, but are more people coming out and kind of finding this place and taking advantage?
Yeah, I've seen a lot of returning visitors as well as new visitors come out for the folk school. We've got art classes, we've got some other gardening classes that we've started. We did a seed starting class in March, so if you're looking to start a garden, that's a good spot or a good class to take. Trying to work with Luke and his busy schedule to get some other gardening classes out here. And then we are looking into starting our homesteading section of the folk school. So we'll be utilizing other spaces of the park, like the music barn over on the south side, and kind of creating a garden over there. The hives might be moving over there. Just kind of making a little hub for
self-sustainable sort of
Yeah.
area.
Yeah, I'm
That'll
excited
be
for
really
that.
cool.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And I feel like a lot of people are starting to move in that direction. Gardening really took
Yeah.
off big during the pandemic.
Yeah,
And so now
it
it's
did.
like people are transitioning into that next step of,
Yeah.
well, I've got this produce or I've got
Right.
this whatever.
Yeah.
Now what can I do with it?
Yeah.
So how can folks get involved out here? How do you keep abreast of the activities? Where do they go?
Yeah, if you just go to our website, allerton.illinois.edu, we have an event page, and all of our programs, our hikes, our tours are all listed there.
And that is the show for this week. Thank you so much for watching. And another thank you to Olivia, Lucas, and Kay for showing us around the gardens today at Allerton. And check out that event schedule on their website if you'd like to learn more. You can also send in your garden questions to us at yourgarden@gmail.com. Thanks again, and we'll see you next time. Good night.